In the summer of 2025, just months into his second term, President Donald Trump shook the world with a bold move, sweeping tariffs targeting the BRICS nations. This wasn't just a tweak in trade policy, it was a declaration of economic war against a bloc representing a new, global power center. Trump's announcement, delivered with trademark bravado on social media, made it clear the US would confront, not accommodate, the rising BRICS alliance. As BRICS leaders gathered in Rio for their summit, Trump threatened a blanket 10% tariff on any country aligning with what he called anti-American BRICS policies. By August, these threats became reality, tariffs far exceeding 10%, designed to punish BRICS for their geopolitical choices. The world watched as global markets jolted and diplomatic outrage spread. Leaders from the developing world condemned the move as economic coercion, with Brazil's President Lula declaring, "We don't want an emperor, we are sovereign countries." Instead of dividing BRICS, Trump's tariffs unified them, giving the bloc a common cause. The US had drawn a line in the sand, forcing nations to choose sides in a new era of global economic rivalry. The stage was set for a high-stakes confrontation that would reshape the world order. To grasp the stakes, consider what BRICS has become. Once just an acronym, BRICS now wields real power, especially after expanding to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the UAE, and Indonesia. This BRICS Plus bloc now represents over half the world's population and 40% of global economic output. With major oil producers and vast markets, BRICS commands serious leverage over energy and trade. The group's new development bank and reserve fund offer alternatives to Western-dominated institutions, providing capital without Washington strings attached. For many developing nations, BRICS is a symbol of a shifting world, one less dependent on the West. Trump's tariffs weren't aimed at scattered rivals, but at a coordinated bloc with its own financial infrastructure and a shared agenda. The expanded BRICS is the most significant challenge to US economic dominance since the Cold War. The tariffs are a test. Can BRICS withstand a direct economic assault from the world's largest economy? The answer would shape the future of global power. The tariffs rolled out in August 2025 were targeted strikes, not blanket measures. China faced the harshest penalties, up to 145% tariffs on key exports, aiming to cripple its economy and accelerate US-China decoupling. India, despite US courtship, was hit with 50% tariffs for buying Russian oil, linking trade policy to geopolitical choices. Brazil and South Africa faced steep tariffs, while new BRICS members were warned they could be next. The logic was clear: use America's market power to coerce rivals, and protect US industries. But the scale suggested a bigger goal, forcing nations to change their foreign and economic policies. The fallout was immediate supply chain chaos, rising costs, and global uncertainty. Instead of capitulating, BRICS nations grew more determined, finding unity in the face of a common threat. The attack left little room for negotiation, pushing BRICS closer together. Rather than splinter, BRICS responded with rare unity. Outrage quickly turned into action as Brazil called an emergency summit to coordinate retaliation and reduce US economic influence. The bloc discussed targeting US exports, launching a Buy BRICS campaign and expanding trade in local currencies. Their strategy inflict reciprocal pain on the US and build a more self-sufficient economic ecosystem. Plans for a BRICS grain exchange and a free trade agreement were fast-tracked. Trump's tariffs, meant to divide, instead forged a stronger alliance. Past disputes, especially between India and China, were set aside in the face of a common enemy. The attack was seen as a challenge to their development models and sovereignty. BRICS transformed from a discussion forum into an active alliance for economic self-defense. The bloc now had a renewed sense of purpose and urgency. At the heart of BRICS's response, de-dollarization. The US dollar's dominance has long given Washington global leverage, but Trump's tariffs made finding alternatives urgent. BRICS nations accelerated trade in their own currencies. Russia and China already conduct most trade in yuan and rubles, and India and Brazil are following suit. The goal: insulate their economies from US sanctions and pressure. The new development bank is piloting new systems to finance projects in local currencies and developing payment platforms to rival SWIFT. Central banks are stockpiling gold, hedging against dollar volatility, and signaling distrust in the US-centric system. By shifting reserves from US treasuries to gold, BRICS is slowly divesting from the system that empowers Washington. De-dollarization is no longer a dream, it's a survival strategy. The financial architecture of the world is beginning to shift. The US tariff offensive didn't just unify BRICS, it sparked a diplomatic realignment, especially between India and China. Longtime rivals, the two found common cause in resisting American pressure, setting aside disputes to focus on trade and security cooperation. At a landmark summit, leaders from China, India, and Russia met for trilateral talks, with Modi visiting China for the first time in years. China agreed to boost rare earth exports to India, countering Western supply chain strategies. India still walks a tightrope, balancing BRICS cooperation with its significant US trade ties and wariness of China's regional ambitions. The expanded BRICS bloc brings new diplomatic weight but also more complexity, as each member has its own interests and priorities. The challenge: maintain unity amid growing diversity and internal rivalries. How BRICS manages these tensions will be as crucial as resisting US pressure. The bloc's future depends on its ability to turn crisis-driven unity into lasting cooperation. The US-BRICS trade clash signals a fundamental shift in the global order. The world is moving from a US-led unipolar system to a more fragmented, multipolar one. Ironically, Trump's tariffs have strengthened the coalition seeking to challenge American dominance. The risks for the US are real: higher prices, retaliation, and a slow erosion of dollar supremacy. Allies and rivals alike are now motivated to build parallel systems, reducing US leverage. For BRICS, this is both a challenge and an opportunity to accelerate integration and financial independence. If they succeed, they could reshape the global balance of power and offer a new model for the global South. The era of Western-led hyper-globalization is ending, replaced by rival blocs and competing visions. The outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the world of tomorrow will be very different from the world of yesterday. The battle lines drawn in 2025 will define the architecture of the 21st century world order.